Hello class, this is the first context lesson for Kachina, and today we are going to talk about time and place and the environment. So reviewing our basic information, the who we are learning about are Native Americans, with the emphasis on the Hopi, but also a little bit of the Zuni and the Navajo Dene. The what you are going to be doing is the Kachina, the where, Southwest United States. Kachinas are seasonal from December to July. The purpose is the renewal of life, land, seasons, and water, which we'll be talking about today. And the how. Kachinas are three forms. They are the spirit, they are the dancers, and they are the dolls. We are studying the first two, and then you are creating a Kachina-inspired sculpture, sort of like a Kachina doll. So, essential questions for today is, where do the people who make Kachinas live? What is the land like there? What is the connection between Kachinas and the land, and why is that important? And over here on the side, you have one of the Kachinas. This is the long hair Kachina. Notice he has really long hair on his head, as well as a beard. And he is one of the rain spirits. And the long hair and the beard is like rain coming down. So the people that we're discussing, the culture that makes Kachinas, are the Native Americans found in the Southwest United States. The Hopi were the first people to make Kachinas, and that's who we're going to be focused on, although other Pueblo traditions also make Kachinas. The Hopi are part of the Pueblo tradition and culture, which, just like the Hopo culture, is a group of people with similarities. But instead of being just a vague, large group like the Hopo was, this is later in time, and they are broken into very specific tribes. Today there are 19 recognized Pueblo tradition tribes. This is the flag of the Hopi that symbolizes the water and the land, and then in the middle, that is their sign for earth, and you have two stylized corn stalks, and then the mountains. So these are the locations. The location of the Hopi is mostly in Arizona. They're Aboriginal lands. Aboriginal lands means they're traditional lands, encompassed a lot of this whole area. But now the reservation itself is in this area with the first, second, and third mesas, and you will hear a lot about those. And it is surrounded by the Navajo reservation. The Navajo reservation that you see here that extends into New Mexico is right there. And then a lot of the other Pueblo people live in New Mexico kind of in a line. And you can see on the map here, starting with the Zuni Pueblo and the Acoma, and going up through Isleta and Cochichi and Santa Clara and Oke and Taos, and yes, that's pronounced okay. Those are all Pueblos, so they're all part of these people. There are other Native Americans in the area. There are a lot of the Navajo reservation. This is the main Navajo reservation, and smaller Navajo reservations. And this is the Jicarilla Apache reservation. And most of these lands up here are also Jicarilla Apache lands. They're not the reservation, they're just owned by the Jicarillas. And that's where I live in the summer, right there. So the land of the Hopi, which I'm going to try to pronounce, Hopi Tusika, is very high in elevation. It's 7,200 feet, so that means you need the special directions on your baking box. The mesas are flat-topped mountains, like you see here on the right. This is what a mesa is. It's like somebody took a mountain and carved part of it away. So the top is flat, steep sides, and then a slope down to the ground. Temperature-wise, it's warm. It's very dry during most of the year. In the wintertime, though, there is snow and cold. And this holds true for most of the pueblos as well until that kind of climate, the warm and dry. And then when you get below Santa Fe, it starts getting hot. There is some snow in almost all of these places, though. It's semi-desert grasslands to high elevation juniper and pinyon forests. Pinyons are the pine trees that produce nuts that people eat. And the Pueblo peoples and the Hopi are dryland farmers. They were agricultural Native Americans. They weren't the hunter-gatherer, nomadic Native Americans like we studied in Crafts 1 on the Great Plains. And they're not the the word just went out of my head. They're not herders like the Navajo were, who grew sheep and had more of an animal-based tradition. But the Hopi were the farmers, and their main crops are the Three Sisters, which are corn, beans, and squash. And sunflowers are also important. Sunflower seeds provided a lot of the protein and nutrition in the wintertime. So the Three Sisters are planted in companion planting, and this is actually one of the really good ways to plant. So the first thing you do is you plant corn, which, as you know, we have corn here everywhere. It grows up tall. And then when the corn has grown 5 inches or so, you plant pole beans. And then the beans grow, and the beans kind of climb all over the corn stalks, which doesn't hurt them. And then you plant the squash seeds, and the squash kind of goes on the ground all over the bottom of the corn stalks. So they help each other. The corn gives the beans support to grow, the beans help the soil, and then the squash takes care of weeds. You can eat them all, you can use them all, and it's a very efficient way to farm when you have limited farmable land. So the Hopis do dry farming, and below the mesa in the desert there are springs, but they're very, very, very deep. And that's where crops are planted. So you have to dig down extremely deep in the earth to plant your seeds so that they have a better chance of reaching the aquifer, which is kind of the porous layer of earth that holds water. And that way they develop deep, strong root systems, and then they grow up through this dry, sandy soil. The average rainfall in the Hopi Reservation is only 8.5 inches a year. And if you think about that in context, a few weeks ago, we had what it was raining like every single day, and one day we had a 2-hour delay because we had gotten 4 inches of rain the day before. That's about half of the rain they get for an entire year. Our average here is 55 inches per year, not counting hurricanes. So you can see it's a very different way to farm than the way we farm. Kachinas and the land. Kachinas themselves are the spirits of natural things like the sun, the wind, the rain, animals, water, stars, all of the natural elements. And they return every winter starting in December. Their first big feast is in February, and they stay till midsummer, around the first or middle part of July. And they don't show up all at once. Some come, and then others will come out and join them, and then when they go away, the same thing, and you have a last one to leave. But the Kachina presence, their presence and dances and rituals that are going on, they make sure the earth will be fertilized, the crops will grow, and that there will be enough water. And in the content section, you learn more about the Kachinas, whether you've done that yet or not. But what they do is they are actually there. They are full body apparel that people wear, and the Kachinas kind of come and go within the society. They're not just reserved for a special occasion, they're part of the living situation. This is a corn Kachina, and around their neck is corn pollen. Corn pollen is, which comes off the kind of yellow droopy parts, the corn flowers on the corn plant. That is one of the sacred things, and most of the Pueblo tribe Native Americans will carry or have in their homes a little bag of corn pollen, and that's a sacred item, a special item. So the Kachina rituals are important because they make sure that life goes on. And when you live in this really challenging environment that the Pueblos are built in, you need to have some way to psychologically feel like somebody's watching out for you. Like there's some greater spirit that's going to take care of things and make sure that you have enough water, you have enough food, and you have everything you need to live. So Kachinas do that. They watch over, they judge people, and sometimes they punish you with having a drought come, so there's no water. And traditionally what they would have to do is pack up and move. And sometimes they will give you more than enough water so you have a really good year and really good crops. And it all depends upon the behaviors of the people and the respect given to the Kachinas. And it's important to respect the Kachina as part of the life cycle. And over here you have a squash Kachina. Those are not seen very often, but it represents, of course, the squashes that are part of the Three Sisters. So for your assignment, you need your Chromebook for this. And since we can't actually go there to see what the land is like, I want you to look at it. So I have linked up a Google Earth feature with a little tour, and you're going to visit the following places: the Hopi Reservation, the Acoma Pueblo, the Chimez Pueblo, Cochiti, and the Daos Pueblo. You're going to zoom in on the places, or you can take the slide tour, and I want you to write down 3 things about the environment that you notice. And especially notice the difference between the environment in Taos Pueblo and the other Pueblos. Of course, as you see by the sign, anytime you enter the reservation area, you are agreeing to be ruled by the tribe that controls the area, by their nation. Those are sovereign nations. Okay, so let's look at the assignment. Escape. Escape. Okay, so here in your classwork, this is the one, you have the Google Earth. Just click on this and it will take you here. Google Earth will take a minute to load. And you have kind of a general map. And if you zoom out, you can see your states. There's Arizona and New Mexico. Texas is over here, a little bit of Oklahoma, Colorado, Utah. This is the Four Corners part. And these are the places that you're going to go. So to go to these places, you just click on the little circle. And then you have a slideshow here that you can flip through that will show you some of the landforms. But also, as well as the slideshow, what I want you to do is zoom in. Zoom, zoom, zoom. And then you're going to click the little peg man over here, and that will show you where you can have a street view. And I want you to land on that street, and you can land anywhere you want to. And I want you to look at the land around you and see how it's different from ours. Notice different features of what grows there, of how the land is shaped, And then you can also go down, and if you want to go in a hurry, you get rid of Pegman. And then you can just kind of scoot yourself down, and you can check out neighborhoods and things of that nature. So you're going to go to the Hopi Reservation, the Acoma Pueblo, which you slide over into New Mexico, Jemez, Cochiti, and Taos. And for your assignment, again, you are writing down 3 things that you notice, and you are going to explain how when you go to the Taos Pueblo, and click on it, zoom down, and then Street View. Street View, if you don't have a whole road, you have these little spots that you can land on and kind of check out what it's like. And already I'm sure you can see a difference. And yes, even in the summertime, there's snow in those mountains. So this is similar but different environment. Okay? So take your time, explore around, and see what you can see. All right, that's it.